Not much is known about Cyberpunk Orion, except that it will be a sequel to 2077. We don't know when it'll take place, but from the Phantom Liberty Tower ending, we can find out a little bit about 2079, and maybe the future of Night City. In V's room, they can access the net to see the latest news and activity, and from it, we can see some pretty interesting changes from the last 2 years. Arasaka has pulled most of its operations out of Night City, and then Yorinobu stepped down as CEO. He was probably pushed out, but regardless, when Takamura and Hanako tried confronting Yorinobu, she was killed and Takamura went into hiding. So with no Saburo, no Yorinobu, and no Hanako, Arasaka as we knew it has ceased to exist. But in its place, other corporations have stepped in. Biotechnica, Tsunami Defense, Militech, and even HFS are building all around Night City, with some buildings still under construction. Militech has even set up around the city, monitoring and policing the area. The power landscape has changed dramatically. We can also see that the streets of Night City are more covered in graffiti than they have ever been. Gone are the clean streets of 2077. These streets seem far more run down. Speaking against a corporation or committing any act against them was a crime and still is. Yet graffiti signs against corporations, and especially Arasaka, are becoming more prevalent. And gone are the days fearing Arasaka wrath at speaking against them. From what we see, it seems like people are fearing corporations less and are becoming more outspoken. The homeless population has also mysteriously and radically decreased, and no one knows why. When you explore Night City in 2077, you can see that the homeless encampments have become more outspoken. They've begun to vandalize billboards and create signs against the corporations. Is this why they're disappearing? The future of Night City is bleak, as capitalism continues to take over, and in this world it is inevitable. But what does this mean for the people of Night City? Why are homeless people disappearing? Are they being experimented on? Are they mobilizing? Is some corporation sweeping them up for their own purposes? And could this connect to Zetatech? What is Zetatech testing? What agreement did they come up with Night City leadership? By 2079, Zetatech has over 80% dominance over the North American market, and claims to have completely eliminated cyberpsychosis, thanks to their revolutionary new immune system booster. But how did they achieve this? Were they testing their new booster on the homeless population? Zetatech is also the tech of the NUSA. Is the rise in dominance related to Myers? Could funding by the NUSA be why they expanded so quickly? And why they're taking over Ripperdocs by force? What are they trying to do? What is the NUSA's goal? An FIA spy was also detained by NightCorp officials while trying to steal data from a NightCorp corporate server. So what information is the NUSA after? NightCorp is one of the most mysterious companies in Night City. Their activities have been linked to Mr. Blue Eyes, possible human DNA testing on the moon, and mind controlling their own employees. So why is President Myers sending FIA agents? What is the NUSA trying to find, and why? There is a new mutated strain of bacteria that has started infesting Wellsprings residents. High fever, seizures, vomiting, and diarrhea are just the beginning symptoms. But 10 official casualties have been reported, though the actual number is likely much higher. Is Biotechnica behind this? Biotechnica was using women as incubators. They tested nomads without their knowledge, which killed them. And they put a painkiller out on the market that causes neural degeneration, knowing full well what it would do. Biotechnica is one of the worst corporations out there, which doesn't really say much in the grand scheme of things in Night City. But maybe this bacteria strain is their doing. Or maybe they're also connected to the disappearing homeless population. Or maybe, with Militech increasing their patrols and control of Night City, they're simply killing people in their way. Their activity in 2029 is a major jump from 2077. With Arasaka mostly gone, they have no one to stop them. So new Militech buildings, billboards, and patrols are popping up everywhere. They are expanding, and they are also working exclusively with the NUSA to supply them with Militech special forces. There has also suspiciously been an increase in cyberpsychosis, but apparently, Militech's new software guarantees a minimum of 200% increase in the safety of users exposed to Netrunner attacks. They have also created their own cyberpsychosis unit, after MaxTack's growing in effectiveness. Could they be behind the increase in cyberpsychosis? Could the Blackwall be breaking free, and people are becoming affected? And if it isn't related to Militech or Zetatech, why has there been an increase in cyberpsychosis? Zetatech also had their highest sales in 2078, servicing 83% of North American residents. Is it possible the rise in cyberpsychosis is correlated with the rise in more people using Zetatech? The rise in cyberpsychosis, missing homeless people, deadly bacteria, and rise in corporations paints a picture of Night City being worse off than it was in 2077. And maybe the most interesting part of this glimpse into the future is that Netwatch seems to be completely controlling the net. Every page has some kind of block from Netwatch. When you try to view more on the Inquirer page and what's happening in Night City, blocked. When you want to view additional information on most pages, it's blocked. And the Bartmoss Collective has also been completely removed. Netwatch is watching the internet, but is also censoring a lot. But why? It's not good that Netwatch is controlling the net to this extent, but it makes you wonder if the net is more unstable. Are all of these measures in place to prevent the Blackwall from completely collapsing? Which we know has been Netwatch's main objective for a long time. Things have really changed in Night City, and it's only been 2 years. For most, it seems like it's gotten worse, but Kerry seems to be thriving. Kerry Eurodyne is on tour at the Crystal Palace. This seems to be where Kerry ends up in every outcome. His career after reuniting with Johnny always takes off. If Orion lets us go to the Crystal Palace, maybe our old friend Kerry is still doing his residency. And here is one of the more interesting outcomes. Peralez becomes mayor of Night City in every situation, but his stance depends on whether or not V told him the truth. His actions are the complete opposite in either scenario. If you did tell him the truth, then him and the Night City Council approve additional funding for a Lucius Rhine project, which was to help Night City's Netwatch veterans. He also eases restriction on airspace transports, removing fees associated with cargo storage. He also reduced or abolished the NCPD's power, which shifted citizen protection onto corporate security forces instead of the Night City PD. If V didn't tell Peralez, then he is still being mind-controlled and has no idea. This means that anything he does is exactly what Night Corp or Mr. Blue Eyes want him to do. He stops funding to help Netwatch veterans, he puts harsh restrictions on airspace transit, and completely bans the storage of transported cargo. He also increases NCPD's funding and powers, instead of shifting these to corporate security forces. So why does Night Corp want airspace transport to be limited? What are they worried about being transported to and from space? And why do they not want to help Netwatch veterans? That feels very intentional. The only one of these choices that actually makes sense is giving the NCPD more power, since that would be under Peralez's control and they control him. But this opens questions as to what Night Corp actually wants. They went through all of this to control Peralez and his wife, and what will that look like in the future? Can he continue to fight it if he knows? Or will they eventually completely take over his mind, and he will be completely corrupted and used to hurt Night City even more? I know that 2079's ending is only one possibility for V's story, but I still think some of the outcomes will be relevant for the future. Kerry seems to always go on tour in the Crystal Palace. Peralez always becomes mayor, but how he acts and how far his mind is controlled seems to depend on our choices. Will that be the case for the future? Or will he be taken over completely? The hostilities between corporations is also always never ending. And in this ending, Arasaka has lost power, but other corporations are quick to move in where they can. And it seems with multiple mysterious and suspicious deaths and disappearances of Night City residents, it's most likely rooted in corporate corruption, which is a daily occurrence in Night City. I also assume we'll see President Myers once again. Everything in this ending could be tied back to the NUSA. Phantom Liberty also shed a lot of light into how the NUSA and the FIA agents work. It showed the power struggles between the NUSA and other corporations, but asked the question, what did Myers want with the Blackwall and with Songbird? If Orion deals with another corporate war or the Blackwall, Myers is tied to both. I think no matter when or what outcome Orion will follow, it will always have some similar paths. Corporations taking more control, Night City becoming more unstable and unsafe, residents being used even more by corporations, Militech and Arasaka's feud continuing, cyber psychosis rising, and maybe Netwatch will always take over the net. And then we have Kerry, who seems to always end up at the Crystal Palace. But what do you think? Do you think 2079 reveals anything about the future? When do you think Orion could take place? I think it's really interesting that they did the 2-year time skip. It's so interesting to see what a little glimpse into the future looks like. And there have been some big changes. But let me know what you think. Do you think this reveals anything? Do you want anything that was revealed in here to continue in Orion? I know Orion is so far away, and I do plan on making more theory videos, more lore videos, and I will be covering any news that does come out about the game. Again, I know it's super far away, but in the meantime, if you want more Cyberpunk content, more lore, more theories, more news, please make sure to subscribe, content, like, all that fun stuff. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my channel members. Thank you to my Patreon members. Because of your support, I can make more videos. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time.